right-hand side. It says we're recording, and now we can begin. All right, this is the second day of a hearing involving Sue Novak versus the state of Wisconsin Department of Corrections, specifically the Columbia Correctional Institution, or CCI. The ERD case number is 221-00120. The administrative law judge in this matter is Alice DeLeo, DELAO. As I said, we started yesterday. This is a merits hearing. The issues are involving in this matter are discriminating against the complainant in terms and conditions of employment because of sex, and terminating the employment of the complainant because of sex. So those are the two issues that we are here to hear today and yesterday, and hopefully will be done by tomorrow. This is a hearing on the merits. The complainant is not appearing, but is appearing by her attorney, who is?
Hitchcock Cross and Cross Law Firm.
Okay, and the respondent is appearing by their attorney, who is?
Eric Mullebach, attorney with the Wisconsin Department of Corrections.
And who else was with you, please?
DOC attorney Elizabeth Longo is also observing.
And then we have your paralegal.
And DOC paralegal Angela DeRiniker, who will be assisting me in the hearing.
Okay. All right. So prior to going on the record, we had identified the first witness, and he is already present, and that is John Husz. Is that how we say it? H-U-S-Z. Is that correct? Am I saying it right, Mr. Husz?
Yeah, SZ, right?
Okay, good. All right. So,
Judge, can everybody hear him? Should I turn up? Maybe I could turn up his settings. If
I can sit
yes,
closer.
if you could be a little louder, that would be good.
Judge, also while we're on a break, it's extremely hot in my
We're on
office.
the
I hope
record,
you don't
so
mind.
we're not on a break. We're recording. Yes.
Well, we're recording, but it's extremely hot in my office. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to wear a suit coat today. I hope you're okay with that.
You look presentable. That's good.
Right? Oh yeah, up here it's cold. You can put it under anything you want.
Yes, if you're cold, do put on a coat or something, Mr. Husz. We want good testimony from you, not your testimony as you freeze.
Can you hear her okay? Do you want me to the speakers I can plug
Yeah, I
in?
can hear her fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can hear you much better now. Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Cross. Who is Brian Gusky? He's in the waiting room.
He was the security director at Columbia County, Columbia Correctional Institution.
Okay, so we'll have to wait for Mr. Cross. All right, Mr. Cross, apparently a witness of yours, Brian Gusky, is in the waiting room. Can you email him to let him know that he's not needed now?
yes, thank you.
All right, so as I was saying, this is the second day of hearing. We completed the testimony of Mr. Kevin Cross, who's the secretary of the Department of Corrections yesterday, and now we are moving on to other witnesses by the complainant, and in this case, it's Mr. Husz. So I think we're ready to begin. We are recording. Okay, so Mr. Husz, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God under threat of possible perjury charges if you were not to be truthful? Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you agree to be truthful?
Yes, I agree to be
Okay.
truthful.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so then Mr. Cross, if you'll begin your direct.
Great. And I'm sorry, can you say your last name again for me?
Husz, H-U-S-C.
Thank you. Can you, were you ever employed by the Department of Corrections?
Yes,
What was your final position when you were employed by the Department of Corrections?
I was the warden of the Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility.
Okay, and I should ask this first. Are you employed by the Department of Corrections presently?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And The facility that you were warden of, can you describe what level of security that is?
It is a kind of unique facility in that it's probation and parole violators from Milwaukee. And it was a maximum security facility.
Okay. So I guess to be clear, it is distinct in the Department of Corrections system, but the inmates that are housed there are maximum security. Is that fair to say?
Again, they really have not, it's in a process of revocation hearing. So they are there. The facility in terms of design, I think, in fact, if you would go on statute, if you look it up in the statutes, MSDF, I think, is identified as a medium. So I think legally, maybe we need to say it's a medium security facility. And again.
Okay, but then why was it
Okay,
described
one
earlier as
second,
maximum?
Mr. Cross, I'm afraid there's a problem. We've now got 3 people waiting in the waiting room. It is Mr. Gusky, Gary McCarty, Cotry, and Jim Swoshert or something.
Okay.
I assume those are all your witnesses?
Yeah, those are the other ones. Okay, and many of them just got the link and are probably just logged in. I will explain to them. I will email the
They
staff
can
member.
sit there if they want, but I just don't
Right,
think it's
no.
going to be a very satisfying experience for them.
Exactly. Okay. 1 second, please. I'll send that message and I will be
Thank
right with you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hutz, could you tell me again what the name of your facility was?
Sure, it's the Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility. It was built really under probation and parole, but then shifted over to the Department of Adult Institutions.
Okay. And so as I guess that let's just then get to the heart of the matter if we can. Well, you were warden, were there ever any escapes at the Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility?
I wish I could give you an easy answer to that. We had an individual that was transported to Milwaukee County Hospital, and while at the hospital, he had made arrangements for an escape. He was in a wheelchair. He dove out of the wheelchair, so it was an escape. But he wasn't from the facility. He was from the facility, but didn't escape from the facility. Does that make sense? He was being transported to the hospital. From the hospital, he had arranged for pickup and escaped.
Okay, but I don't think we're trying to assign blame here, but we just want to be clear for comparison circumstance purposes that when the escape happened, this inmate was in the custody and control of the Department of Corrections, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then following, or I guess, how did you learn of that escape?
I do not recall.
Can we have a
Okay.
time frame? I didn't get a time frame.
Sure. Do you know when that escape happened?
And I retired in 2011. So that escape, I can't recall. I don't remember.
Well, you like even the year?
No idea.
Okay. So the best, but we can be clear, it was before 2011, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Was it after 2011 when the, Twin Towers were attacked?
I'm sorry?
Was it?
Was it at least after the Twin Towers were attacked? Do you have some concept? Twin Towers were attacked in 2001.
That doesn't, again, I was with corrections from 1972 to 2011, and I had a variety of different jobs. My last one was the warden of MSDF. And when I first worked on building the facility, and then I ran the facility for years, but it's been so long, I couldn't even speculate as to the date.
Sure. And I can, I guess, help. One way to ask this is, do you know when the secure detention facility was built?
Yeah, 2011, probably, maybe 2000. I'm really speculating. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
I mean, just for efficiency purposes, I think we
Yeah,
got that.
I don't recall, to be honest.
Sure. So then, let's just talk about as your position or were there any discipline from your position as warden? Are you aware that there was any disciplinary action taken against any Department of Correction employees regarding the escape?
I don't recall.
Okay. Were you ever investigated as warden? Were you ever investigated regarding that escape?
No,
Okay. And do you know if the deputy warden was ever investigated regarding that escape?
no, I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't think, I think the officers that had transported him to the county hospital, there may have been an investigation in terms of how they handled that transport, but I don't recall.
Okay. And to be clear, based on your knowledge and understanding of the Department of Corrections procedures at that time, an investigation would automatically precede some kind of discipline, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So it's fair to say that without an investigation, there can't be discipline, right?
Yes,
Okay. So then by that logic, because you were never investigated, you were also never disciplined for related to that escape, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have.
All right, Cross.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Who was your direct supervisor when that escape occurred?
I believe it was Denise Simden.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Denise Simden.
Spell the last name, please.
SYMDOM. Simden. That's a guess too.
All right, thank you.
12 years since I worked for corrections. I'm sorry.
So I just want to be clear. Are you sure it was Ms. Simden, or are you not positive?
I'm not positive.
Okay. Was your direct supervisor Doug Percy?
Oh, my direct supervisor?
Yes.
No,
At the time the escape occurred, was your direct supervisor Doug Percy?
no, I don't believe so.
Okay. At the time the escape occurred, was your supervisor Stephanie Hovey?
No,
Who was the DOC secretary at the time the escape occurred?
again, I'd be guessing. I don't know.
Was it Kevin? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. Was it Kevin Carr?
It wasn't Kevin Carr.
Okay.
Remember, I retired in 2011, so
I understand. At the time that this escape occurred, were you aware of any issues with respect to your perimeter fence? If there is even one at MSDF, were you aware of any issues with a perimeter fence at MSDF?
this is a high-rise facility. It's in downtown Milwaukee. There is no fence. And remember, he escaped from Milwaukee County Hospital. Okay.
Yep, understood. Thank you. So the person that escaped, was that individual being transported consistent with DOC practice and policy to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
And in the weeks prior to the escape, were you investigating any members of your staff for bringing contraband and possibly having sexual relations with persons in your care who were found to have assisted in the escape?
No.
That's all the questions I have, Judge.
Okay, any redirect?
Yeah, can you tell us what your gender is, sir?
Excuse me?
Are you male or female?
I'm male.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Husz. I appreciate you coming today and taking this opportunity. I'd ask that you not discuss your testimony. I forgot to say that to the secretary. Could you make sure Mr. Carr knows that he's not to talk about his testimony, okay?
I let him know that.
Thank you. And
Thank
Mr.
you.
Husz, the same with you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Okay. You also.
And
Bye.
then can we
If you'll
turn-
just give me a moment or two to play host, I'd appreciate it. And we'll get the next
I'm gonna do the hosting. Nobody's else doing the hosting.
What I mean by host is this is my building, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, you need to get them out? Okay. Well, yeah, we'll just go off the record a second then and stop the recording. So you can mute yourself, come back in about 5 minutes.